I don't think it comes to any surprise what journalists do, and here you go yet again. Manga has always been political. Western readers just never realized it.
Yes, yes, yes. Oh my god.
I think everybody knew that manga was political, but there's a difference between manga and how it does it as opposed to what you have with modern Western comics and what they do. When you look at DC and Marvel, for example, they try to push their politics onto you, preach to you how you should live. Manga doesn't do that. Manga has political messages, yes, but it's not preachy. It doesn't come off as you have to think the same way as we do or you're a bigot. The politics itself within manga, it makes it entertaining. It can build up the world. It can make it more interesting. But the stories are what's the most important. They don't focus on the politics. They don't try to ham-fist that down your throat like Marvel or DC, for example, do. So we're going to look at this article. We're going to get more into this. But first off, I just wanted to make a quick announcement. First off, I hope all of you are having yourselves a wonderful and fantastic day today. And if not, hopefully you all will have it better tomorrow. The Q&A is going to be up soon. I'm going to have that up by Christmas. So it's going to be up. I know it's been taking a while. The tornado really messed up a lot of things on it, and I've been trying to get it fixed. There was a bit more corrupted pieces to it that I've had to re-edit and everything. But everything will be fine. It'll be up soon. It may be a little shorter than I expected it to be because of the mess up. But, hey, you know what? Everything will be alright. We'll get it up. Also, I'm going to take a blackout while I was actually editing it, and then whenever everything went back up, yeah, it turned out that the files were corrupted, and I was like, oh no. So I had to do the whole thing over. So getting it all finished, it's going to be done very soon. So expect it up on Christmas Day. I'm very sorry it took so long. And, this week, winter is not whenever I'm feeling at my best, health-wise, physically, mentally. So I'm trying to work through that as well. But everything will be okay. Everything's fine. I'm going to get more videos up soon, and I'm going to take a little break through Christmas, a few days. So I'll be back sometime next week with more content right before the beginning of the new year. But anyways, so what's going on here? Well, journalists yet again making stupid articles, because this is something that people knew. Manga has always been political. Western readers just never realized it. Yes, they knew that. Like most readers of manga have known this. But the thing that's different between the politics that's actually in manga and then in modern Western comics, here's the difference. While manga's had politics, it's not tried to throw propaganda down your throat and make you think the same way that they do. They tried to sway you with their story, but they allowed you to think for yourself, letting your own freedom of thought come in and you decide, what you want to believe. As opposed to where in modern comics today, they want to think for you, and then if you don't agree with their hive mind, then you're a bigot.
Your culture will adapt to service ours.
Impossible. My culture is based on freedom and self-determination.
Freedom is irrelevant. Self-determination is irrelevant. You must comply.
When it comes to these journalists, this is the only thing they think, is politics. And that's what they try to shove down everyone's throats. They try to act like they know more than you do, and then they make these articles, and it just makes them look like complete total idiots. So, taking a look at this article. When Marvel Comics introduced a version of MODOK modeled after then-president candidate Donald Trump, see, they can't go without that. They can't. Many were quick to contrast this to the perceived apolitical nature of manga. A common refrain among some Western manga fans is that the medium's success is tied to its lack of apparent political messages. Despite this, nothing could be further from the truth. A closer look at many of Japan's most influential manga reveals a deep well of political themes, messages, and imagery. People knew this, but here's the thing. They go to manga because it's entertaining. Because it's escapism. It helps them escape the issues within their life. Reality. They can escape those problems of real-world stuff that goes on daily. And it's not just manga that's had politics in it. You've had politics in Western entertainment, but it's handled much differently. Like, for example, fictional politics. What that does is it actually builds up the world of your story. But the important thing is that the story comes first to them. That's what is the most important thing. The characters, the story, that's what's important. But when you look at Western entertainment in the modern day, what do we see? Modern politics being pushed in there. What happened today is what they put into their shows or their comics. And then they tell you you have to believe this way. I mean, they don't let you think for yourself. They try to do the thinking for you. I mean, it's absurd. It's absolutely ridiculous. And that's why people go to manga. That's why manga is so good. Now, of course, they try to bring up Studio Ghibli as well as Akira. And yes, there have been Studio Ghibli films. There has been, stuff like Akira that have had politics in it. it's not that it's uncommon, but it's like I said, it's the fictional politics that helps bring up the story, makes the story better. It's not real world stuff. You look at Gundam, look at all the politics that Gundam has throughout the series, and it has a lot of politics. Federation, Zeon, I mean, I could go on an entire list. I mean, Gundam's been going on since 1979, a long time ago. But point is, there's a lot of other things that makes Gundam good besides just its own world building, its own fictional politics, like characters. You have Code Geass. Yeah, you got politics in that. The whole war between Britannia and the Black Knights, the rebellion, why it was created. But there's still more to it that makes it excellent as a series as a whole. You have JoJo. JoJo's Bizarre Adventures even had politics. Look at Steel Ball Run. You look at what I would say is the best villain in all of JoJo, which is Funny Valentine. I mean, he became the president of America. Not only that, but he was a criminal of war. I'm not going to go too far into Funny Valentine for those who haven't seen Part 7, but you get the point. Look at Final Fantasy VII. Final Fantasy VII, you look at Shinra, you look at Midgar. These are fictional politics that helped the story. And, it's fictional, but point is I know this is a video game that I'm bringing up here along with all this stuff, but thing is that you can play around with the idea of politics, right? Create your own fictional politics. Like, for example, you can look at, industrialism, environment, things of that sort. You can play around with the idea, and it can world build, and it can help with your story. Now, thing is, though, is that when it comes to people like this journalist, and a bunch of the talentless hacks of the industry, it's all about agenda to them. It's not about telling you a good story. It's not about making good characters, and when they do this stuff, yeah, it's just to make you think exactly as they do, or you're the enemy. That's how they treat it. They treat it as, are you really good enough to be my fan? You must think the way I do, or you're not good enough. Lick my boot, or else you're not my fan. You're not good enough. I mean, that's how they act. I mean, they just shame anybody that thinks differently than them, and that's not how it goes. You never see a mangaka go out there and say, hey, look, you got to think the same way I do, or you're not deserving of being my fan. Like, you don't see that, because they respect their fans, and they know how to treat their fans. Now, this article goes on saying, while some critics of the Western comic book industry have viewed the recent inclusion of more LGBTQ characters as a reason for declining sales of traditional superhero comics, this is odd considering the manga industry, while far from perfect, is often on par or even ahead of the curve in including characters with a wide variety of sexualities and genders. Okay, so here's the thing about this. Thing is that they talk about Sailor Moon here, like in 1994, Sailor Moon famously, premiered a heroic lesbian couple, Uranus and Neptune. Now, yes, they did have these characters. People were upset that they were actually made as cousins in the dub. People were very upset by that, because they changed the characters from who they were. And see, here's the thing. It's not that people have a problem with LGBTQ characters. The problem is that if you look at Western comics, you look at what they've been doing, they've been changing characters from who they were. It's not like they're bringing brand new characters in that are LGBTQ+, which that's not a problem when you do that. But what they're instead doing is they're taking existing characters and changing them from who they are for an agenda's sake. Changing their sexualities, changing their race, swapping all that. It's not natural when they do that. It's all for agenda's sake, rather than bringing in a new character. You could bring in a new character, but they don't want to do that, because they're not creative types. They couldn't even create a paper bag if they wanted to. But if you look at Revolutionary Girl Utena, you look at that series. That series came out in 1997, and it tackles a lot of issues. Identity, abuse, manipulation. There's a lot of things that this series covers. Utena's story is a fantastic one. The things that she goes through, that she deals with, the issues. It's great. And here's the thing. Her character's bisexual. It came off as natural. It wasn't in your face, and that's not even the whole thing to her character. I mean, she's a good character overall and well written. And you don't even think about her being bisexual, because who cares about her sexuality, right? And then there's Maria Holic, which Kaneko, her character, she's going to an all-girls Catholic school, and she's a lesbian. And she's trying to find a wife. It's absolutely hilarious. Good series, and it makes fun of everything, including her character. I mean, it's a good series, and it comes off as natural. I mean, it's not preachy, it's not in your face. But then you look at how, like, DC, for example, you look at what they did with Tim Drake. They retconned his character. He was dating women all the time. Now they've just made him bi. Now he's into dudes because agenda. Same thing with John Kent. They aged up John Kent to 17 years old, and now he's dating a dude. Which, of course, yet again, is for agenda purposes. We know why it is. And then it makes headlines, and then it just, dies in the wind. That's basically what happens to stuff. But that's what they do. They just take existing characters, change them around, and then all their identity is their sexuality, which a character has more than just their sexuality is their identity. I mean, seriously, the comic book industry in the West, it's mentally ill. Like, they really are. They only have one trick, and that's turning existing characters gay. I mean, that's basically what it is, and pushing agendas down your throat. While they think they're geniuses, watching the industry they're on completely collapse. I mean, seriously, they're just looking at themselves as if, oh, this is okay, this is fine. We're destroying the industry. All right. Now, what else can we do? Oh, shove more politics down everyone's throats. And they wonder why manga's kicking their ass. Well, this is why. Then, of course, you had, Attack on Titan being brought up, as well as Full Metal Alchemist, which, they had politics in their series, but it helped build their world. It wasn't preachy stuff. Now, of course, Screen Rant also got just demolished on their tweet. People roasted him hard. Oliver Gia had a really good point here, saying, no, most are fully aware that manga touches politics. The difference is that, unlike most of modern Western media, manga typically doesn't try to shove blatant propaganda down readers' throats or shame them as bad people if they don't share the author's opinions, which he's absolutely right on. He continues saying, some people just can't wrap their minds around the fact that the Japanese people approach political subjects differently than Westerners. There are no U.S.-style culture wars over here, and the country is better off for it. Politics simply doesn't infiltrate every aspect of media, which is great to hear. There is certainly Japanese media which takes political and social themes. You wouldn't have Metal Gear games or Ghibli films if that wasn't true. But compare how they convey their messages compared to Western media, and you'll understand why more Westerners are jumping ship.
I had a dog, and his name was Bingo.
I mean, Oliver Gia has absolutely perfect points. I mean, it's the way the message is handled. That's why people are jumping to manga. That's why they're jumping to anime. Because they're not having to be thrown to their faces. It's not being shoved down their throats. And people get real good entertainment out of it, and that's why they love it. That's why they're going to it. Back 30 years ago, 20 years ago even, you could go and look at entertainment, you could have a good time with it. Now, it's totally different. And there were other people which had good points saying most of anything story-wise has undertones of politics. Yeah, I mean, Star Wars did, Star Trek did, for example. You've had it. I mean, it's just the way that it's handled now is it tries to take away your freedom of thought. That's the biggest problem that comes from it. And tons of people were roasting them. I mean, it was hilarious. Like this one right here, one person's like, politics. It's like, this is when all your women are barrel-shaped. The word is plump, and a barrel's better than an anvil. Excuse me, let's all get along. Because politics, let's be real, it's what it does. It tears people apart. It creates issues, and this couldn't have been better. Like, this manga panel right here is absolutely brilliant. It could not have been more perfect. I absolutely love it. Great example there. And as long as this keeps up, Japan's going to keep kicking their asses, but the pendulum's already starting to swing. I mean, you can already see it. People are tired of this. They're tired of all this propaganda and entertainment. And you're starting to see more of it. People on the right, people on the left, people in the middle. I mean, and yes, there are people on the left that are tired of it too. I've talked to some people that are on the left. They're tired of it also. And this is exactly why you're just going to continue to see Western comic book industry, for example, it's going to continue to collapse because this is all they do. They try to stop you from freely thinking for yourself. And it's funny that this article that was made, this article itself, don't contact the writer or anything. Leave them alone. Don't bother them. As I always tell you, don't bother these people. But thing is that while that person was trying to cherry pick for the American politics and anime and whatnot, this is all that they do. This is all they think about. This is all they worry about is politics. Because that's all they look for. That's why they were cherry picking like American politics in this article. It's what you'll notice. And this is all they think about. Because they let that control. It's pathetic. I mean, it really is. But, this is just another example of the NPC media being a bunch of idiots as always. Like I said, most fans of manga, anime, they realize that there was politics in there, but it's not up in your face. You know, that's not how Japan does it. They don't try to be in your face about it. You know, and that's the thing. That's why they're doing so good. Because they're making good, entertaining stories that people continue to love and have fun with, that they enjoy. You know, this is exactly why Western entertainment is in trouble. That's why it's been having its ass destroyed by Japan. And it also goes to show why people just don't listen to these journalists, because they're nothing but a bunch of activists to try to push their propaganda on these platforms. But anyways, let me know what you think about this entire situation down below. Subscribe to the channel if you are new here, and make sure you are still subscribed, because YouTube is unsubscribing people from all their favorite channels. So make sure you are still subscribed to all your favorite channels. Hit the video with a like, and also be sure to share the video on social media. Spread the word to get it out there. It's greatly appreciated, and it really helps out the channel a lot. Also, be sure to follow me on both Discord and Minds. We have a wonderful community there. Not only that, but it will keep you up to date on when the newest videos will be released, as well as any other upcoming events in the near future. So be sure to follow me on both Discord and Minds. The links are in the description down below. But anyways, I hope you all have yourselves a wonderful and fantastic day today. And remember, if today was not a good day, tomorrow could always be better. Take care of yourselves and everyone around you, and have yourselves a good one out there, everybody.